that idea. I haven't heard that idea yet.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yep.
Welcome back. We are back with another episode of the Foolish Optimist podcast. My name is Amy McDonald. I'm your host, and today we have Drew Williams. Drew Williams is running for the U.S. House of Representatives in the 1st District in Kentucky. He's a lifelong Marshall, Kentucky native, where he graduated from high school in 2011. He went to Murray State, and he has been working in his family business since he was 14. He's hoping to focus on rural infrastructure and business, congressional ethics, and small town community upliftment. Drew, thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful to have you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much.
Maybe we can just start where we always start. Could you tell us why you're running and why 2026? What's the impetus behind it?
I've always enjoyed community service and politics and this kind of logic conversation. I was Abraham Lincoln in my 4th grade play. I've always kind of had this drive, and I'm going to be 33 on the 250th year anniversary of the country. It's never been a bigger time to, work for our communities. We can see that in every aspect of our lives. Like it's not going to just be a top-down approach on how we're going to fix our system. It's going to be a bottom-up grassroots approach, and I've been trying to do that in my own community for as long as I can remember. And so it's just, I think I have the connections and the understanding of what our issues and systems are and how to connect with people that in this time of disconnection, we really need a time and a space where we feel heard and that our voices matter. I'm just one constituent, right? Even when if I got a chance to go up there, I wouldn't want to take the voices. I won't take the voices of everybody else with me. So
totally. That's a really good point. And I think that's what a lot of our candidates have been saying. People, your predecessors on the Foolish Optimist, you're talking about rural revitalization. I think, could you expand on that a bit? I think it's
Sure.
something us city dwellers don't really think about too much, but I think it's really, really important.
Yeah, there's a lot of spaces in rural communities that feel more shuttered. Like we have the business fronts, but there's just no business in them. In Eddyville, Kentucky, there's an entire strip mall, big courtside yards. It used to be full of businesses. There's like 3 in there now out of like the 40 spots.
Yeah.
And it's just, we don't give enough consideration to the needs, the overall arching incentivization structures that go along with being a very small business in a very rural area. And so we really need to have a grander view of what community is and how we as like the government or as people of power help enrich those people's engagement. Like I really am a big fan of like incubator spaces. So we should really have some, almost like hole in the wall businesses set up to where, it's like $100 a month and it comes with your mailbox and it comes with your secretary space. And like you can coordinate from there until you get out of micro business phase. You know what I mean? Like some places like a lawn and garden, they just need an office space. You know what I mean? And that's just not available. Like to have like where can I meet you for a meeting other than like on the job site, And so, just having those more nuanced or unique perspectives of like how we can make these places, even when they don't have a lot of population, we got to make them grow, right? They can't just sit there stagnant and be like an in-between point all the time. And so, yeah, so that's kind of my incentivization there about.
So you're thinking about it more in terms of the economic growth.
Yeah. And a lot of our communities, like the rural healthcare providers are one of the largest systems, right? So we need a space for like those secondary healthcare providers, like nutritionists, physical therapists, exercise dietitians, and all that stuff to feel motivated to move into rural spaces, right? And if that's like a incentivization structure of like offloading their movement costs or helping out with taxes in those first couple of years or expanding what Medicare, Medicaid like covers or how ease of access those things are, we will see an uptick both in population and economic development and health, you know what I mean? But like we're going to have more cohesive structured systems. And you see that like, again, we have cities, I mean, like in my cities are like, 30,000 people. And I think they're like really, really big, right? But there's cities here and they have those structures, but a lot of people don't have the availability to travel 40, 50 minutes, to meet with some of these spaces. So yeah, no, it's just trying to figure out what works in a smaller space and how we can collectivize and reduce costs for people so that, those things can be engaged with. Cause a lot
Yeah.
of places like, most people move to Louisville because that's where the money's at. Like that's where you get to deal with
Right.
things. And so,
Right.
yeah, that's,
Well, and it's the famous question. It's the chicken or the egg first,
mhm,
right? If we build it, will they come,
yeah,
or do they need to come and then we can build it? And especially with people, especially in the healthcare and just
mhm,
generally people who are, have multiple degrees or multiple certifications. They want a certain level of living.
yeah.
And I
No, and
think
that's understandable.
we, as the Democratic Party, we've kind of let the specifically, we have definitely left the rural South, and even I know Kentucky's not fully the South. I
Mhm,
won't put that on you. Just some more rural areas and like
yeah,
mountainous areas have kind of been left out in the cold, literally and figuratively.
yeah.
Um, so I guess my question is, I don't want to ask if you have a plan, but do you have like a thought process in mind? Like, is there a place that you've seen something like this work that you think could be replicated
I
in what
think
you're trying to do?
Sure. I think that we don't, as a state or federal government in most areas, engage with like co-op mentality of spaces, right? So, like, again, we're
Right.
going to move back to that rural healthcare incentivization. Maybe it's not just, the dentist, right, that's going to move into that space. Maybe they're working with a conglomeration of three or four other, healthcare providers that do different
Right.
things. And we move into the same building and we help do those same costs. We get the same grants, you know what I mean? And they work on building a needs-based system. The same thing with like food deserts and other things, and even in urban areas, right? In the sense that like where we need people that can band together in that regard and fill a need. And as a governmental system, like people taking that initiative need to understand that we're behind them in that regard. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be the biggest funding in the entire world, but again, like offsetting some of those transitionary costs, the permittings and things that we're working with them and the local government to help ease those burdens and cut like not like cut red tape in terms of what we're like making sure is going right, but like not making that red tape cost anything or take a time limit to get valued needs into our communities. I think that's going to
Yeah.
show results quickly. And then I think like an economy and other things build around that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, this just also clicked for me because exactly what you're describing is exactly what you're doing right now, right?
yeah,
When you start a campaign, you're starting a small business and
yeah,
there's so much red tape and there's so many costs associated. I just thought it just clicked, right?
yeah,
You got thousands and thousands of dollars to get on the ballot, and then you have no office space. You have such,
yeah,
you know,
100%.
like you've got nothing, and there's so little support for these candidates that, like you, are just normal people who
Yeah,
have jobs who and we want normal people. No, what is, you know.
yeah,
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about rural revitalization. I hear this from a lot of people. Everyone wants a local economy that their group can depend on and their constituents can depend on. And then, but it's like, how do we get it in there? So we've got to, if we have time toward the end, maybe we'll solve that
okay,
issue. But let's talk a little bit about one of your other, a big ticket, big hot
sure,
ticket, hot button item for everybody is congressional ethics.
yeah. So that was the first and easiest thing for me to come up with like policy positions on, right? Is because that's surrounding everything that we deal with, all these issues back and forth is the conversation of special interests, right? And
Yeah.
people not doing what they're saying on the front facing, or people having another reason to obfuscate like the system or their engagement with their voters. It's a lot of the reasons why we deal with propaganda in our advertising for candidates, and why you hear
Yes.
like the voiceovers rather than it coming from their mouth, or them saying a catchy slogan or phrase rather than telling you plans, is because
Yeah.
standing on those plans usually requires some kind of ethical understanding of where you're supposed to be. And like I'm happy to admit when I'm wrong about things. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like a lot of times we're just learning. I was on a panel the other day that was we were talking about the stuff happening with Iran. And one of the people on the panel was Maria Lana Kinter, who's running for U.S. House. And she's like, I'm in the military and I've done stuff with this and I understand the rules. And I'm like, I'm listening. You know what I mean?
Right. Like, I don't know.
yeah,
Exactly. I would learn.
yeah,
Obviously, I'm happy to learn, but like,
yeah,
that's not my forte.
exactly. And so like I can have a statement and an understanding of like where we want to go, but like I'm not going to be taking some big bold, proclamation of what we should be doing because I'm a community servant. Like what I do is I try to uplift from here. And there's people who are supposed to be from the military and people who are supposed to be from healthcare, and like
Right.
that's the goal. And so yeah, it's interesting to engage with congressional reform because I think that we are tired of seeing lobbyists. But the nuance in lobbyists is like Jon Stewart was fighting for 9/11 firefighters. Is he a lobbyist?
Right.
Right? Like
Technically, yes.
technically he's a lobbyist, right? So yeah,
it's like, I mean, the dream is that we don't need lobbyists because the government would just do what they said they would do and they would take care of people who were inflicted with
it's hard
cancer after 9/11 and things like that. But like,
yeah. And so, but it's interesting because like sometimes like the lobbyists bring up new issues that no one knew about, right? Like you have advocates for like environmental causes or like healthcare issues. They're like, we're like, oh, this is a new thing. So how does that information get brought to the surface or made like a point? But at the same time, we have people from like big oil or military industrial complex or healthcare and pharmaceuticals that like are lobbying for their businesses and their spaces, which again, obviously we need people advocating for businesses, but like, how do we deal with that? So like, obviously I'm taking an approach that like Congress people specifically shouldn't be allowed to be lobbyists, right? Like after they've left, that's an easy, we can nip that one in the bud.
Do you know that like, are there people doing that right now?
Yeah. So about 30%, of exiting Congress people become lobbyists because they already have all those connections with the people that they're talking with right in front of them.
Well, and they were like, I couldn't get a nightly show on MSNBC. Yeah. So I gotta go make money somehow. Yeah.
And so they deal with a lot of those things and they can earn upwards of like $1 million a year, right?
Right.
Doing those kinds of jobs. And so it's really interesting to see that. I'm also like, from the moment we sign up to run for office, our like stock trading should be frozen.
And
it should be frozen until about 4 years after we've left, and that way you really don't have any implications and systems surrounding that. And, if you had to change things or whatever, it should just go through the ethics panel. Like that's
right. But it's not that crazy. Like they're.
And then the Senate has a nonpartisan. It's not Senate members who are on their ethics panel, right? Yeah. It's a separate entity, but the House doesn't. The House actually has an ethics committee which governs itself, which is very political, right? In that regard.
It's also like, it's like internal affairs for police.
So another goal would be to establish an ethics panel for the House representatives. There's way more of them. There's a lot more opportunities for corruption, in that regard. And so they're not seen as important figures as much as the Senate. You know what I mean? Everybody like to be knows Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell. But not everybody knows Hal Rogers, who is over there in the 6th district, right? Like they're way over there. Some people don't even know who ours is. So, they just because we have 6, of course, other states like California have like 52. So it's right. That would be insane, for me to think of dealing with. So there's that. And then I would really like to mandate and systemize like the debate structure in town halls, like our representation and being able to be in front of people. That helps, as well as like your transparency with people. Even if you're just giving platitudes, you know what I mean? But like,
it also gives, it gives some, like you said, some credibility, but like it gives some credence to the institution itself.
Yes.
Even if it's like a minimum of like 1, 2, whatever, something like you just need to be I talked to somebody in there the last time someone, their sitting rep held a town hall was in 2009.
Yeah.
I was like, that's like, okay.
It's very interesting.
That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there's conversations on like when you or your family members receive like jobs over certain amounts of income, all of a sudden, right? Like it doesn't have to be that you didn't deserve the job, but maybe the job needs to run through the ethics panel. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of things that could be, today we're doing 100 of these. And
if we think about the way other industries are regulated, I mean, I was just with a friend, her husband's like been in finance for 20 years. And like, he can't make any stock trades. Straight up either, but he would lose his like series, whatever, like, and it just seems like every other industry has figured this out.
Yeah.
It's just because they're policing themselves, they're holding themselves to a different standard, which is unfair.
Yeah, and so like, and I already have like 10 of these on my website, so it's really
Okay.
they're my interest. My
What you drop your website
Sure,
right now. So
it's
people,
Williams for KY, so Williams
thank you.
FORKY.com.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think it's really interesting because we're already seeing like the gifts and expenditures arguments both sides. Like everybody's, oh, they went to the Olympics as a representative,
Right.
but they brought their wife, and it's not
Right.
that like you can't pay extra for your spouse to go.
For your partner, yeah.
But like maybe there needs to be a website that showcases every time somebody used an expenditure that was, what would normally be questioned by anybody. You know what I mean?
Again, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
And like
it's just
let's just
it's
list.
like the HR would push back if you tried to register this expense. They'd be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
this is weird.
Yeah.
Can we just take a look at this?" And you're like,
Or whenever you do an expense that is supplementing a cost that they deal with, right? So a lot of people think that Congress people get like free flights back and forth.
"Yeah,
Right, and they don't, and they have to pay for their expenses at where they live, you know what I mean? And they have to
right,
pay for their health care and like all that kind of stuff. So it's like we need a better educational job and listing like what Doge
yeah,
was trying to do, right? But just for like every expenditure that they do that would otherwise be like, we drove here, it was this, and this is how your congressman
right."
spent money. You know what I mean? Like even most of their
Just
personal
like a
funds.
general idea of transparency,
Yeah.
or like
We take some
I think
steps.
everybody wants that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
There's some
thousand steps
steps.
to it,
Yeah, I'm really
but
lax.
it's like I think that is a nonpartisan issue. I think everybody fucking wants that.
Yeah.
It's just to me, it seems very black and white
Yeah.
because all of us, I think every single person feels like there's a lot of corruption. And is it all financial? Maybe not. But
Right.
like we're all like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing over there?
And we
You know,
deal
so
with the
that's,
same thing on the campaign finance side of things. Like you
oh
said,
my
like
God.
it's already really confusing. The Kentucky Registry of Election Finance, like I've done that for some organizations I've been with, way smoother than what
Is it?
so much smoother than the national FEC filings. It feels
Interesting.
because the FEC filings I have to download to my local computer. And so every time I share the file, I have to like email it. Whereas that one's like a program, and it's just like type it
Right. You
in.
just type shit
You
in
just
and you
type
just
shit
keep
in,
it
and
going.
it just keeps going.
Because it's 2025
Yeah,
and
and
we have the capability to make those types of apps now. I mean,
yeah,
literally it could almost be an app on your phone that like once you register and you get all the stuff, they send you
yeah.
an invite and you can't go to anybody else. It has to be, like
Well, and it's weird that like all the like when you sign up, they're not giving you a specified like location for that money to transition through, right? Like it's be like, oh,
right.
here's your bank account through the state treasury, and the money's
They don't
yeah.
do that?
No. You have to
Or
get
you
you get your own bank account.
okay,
You
I
get
gotta say
your
okay,
own.
but you do have to register your own bank
Yeah,
account
but
to
like, why
this
are we
is
doing that? Like, right? Like, you again, like, there's a setup fee. There's,
yeah.
like the bank I went to set up, they were like, oh, we like obviously they only get to do one or two of these every election cycle across the state, or across my district. So they're like, oh, we don't know how to do
I've never
this.
done this
We've never
before.
done this one before. We'll have to go look up. And so like me and them were sitting there for like 4 hours while somebody figures out all the rules, and it's just like. This would be so simple if it was just ran through either the
It
state or
could
the
be.
federal treasury
If we
system.
wanted it to be, it could
Yeah,
be.
and why? So then, like, why can't I just like you can take this to any local bank and hand it to them, and they'll send it to the treasury, or you can have
Right.
your donation sites go directly to that source. And it's just like
Yeah.
we're just not setting up systems that accommodate like working class people or people that
They just don't
have
make sense.
yeah, like how are people who like say don't get into a lot of these things. I have so many friends who are like, I don't even have a bank account. Like, I mean, like I don't do banks. And so like if like that
Sure.
kind of person is just like setting themselves up for a system that's not even for them, you know what I mean, to run for office. They may have great ideas, but the way that they engage out here in rural America, where they don't trust those
Right.
systems. When the banks collapsed in 2008, look how many people didn't get their money back. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and they're just like, oh, I ain't doing that again. And so it's just like now it's in a shitbox.
Well, I
You know
mean,
what I mean?
it's scary.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have
yeah,
generational trauma
yeah.
around our banks collapsing. I
We
mean,
do.
truly, like grandparents to parent, like it just keeps kind of coming back up. I would shift gears here for a minute.
Go
What
for it.
do you think is the biggest issue for your district? What's keeping people up at night?
It's a lot of rising prices and income security.
Yeah.
That's the majority of things. I think that even people who are the business owners who like live on the lake here in Marshall County or who live at like
Right.
on the river and like or have really nice houses, like they're still in a space where they're having to work for like more stress than you would assume someone at that level should be
Right.
engaging in, right? Like,
Right.
I build boat docks and we contract through some people, and like a couple of them are like again, nice houses, you know what I mean? Nice spaces, nice
Yeah.
trucks, working 24/7, like so stressed
Yeah.
out to
Just to keep it.
maintain what you
Yeah.
would think is like the middle upper income of middle class, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
not even making like, $500,000. We're talking about people making like $200,000. And in this area,
Yeah.
they're loaded. You know what I mean? Comparatively,
Right.
my district's average
Right. I know.
income
I saw
is
your district's like
30K.
average.
Yeah,
Yeah. I saw the median income. I don't think I got it from your state site. I saw it at like 48,000
yeah. And
at close.
might have gone up. The last one I think I saw was the 2022, and it said it was 30 to 32,000.
Okay. So
So
then
yeah.
mine's probably incorrect. It is from Wikipedia.
Well, and we've
Um,
changed district spaces a lot.
oh,
Right.
okay.
In 2020, we added some spots and whatnot. So yeah, it's
Might have been
maybe
like changed
yeah.
with that.
And so but yeah, it's not high. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't,
my
I live in Brooklyn, New
yeah,
York, obviously, the amount of money needed to
sure.
survive across the country varies greatly.
Hmm.
But to me, $32,000 anywhere in the country right now feels so close to impossible.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
just between rent, car, like I don't have a car payment. I don't have to pay
yeah,
for gas. I don't have to pay for insurance. That's fucking huge. That's kind of one of those things. Like the car payment, you can make a decision about. You can decide how, you can really work that
yeah,
one out and you can keep a car for 25 years until it falls apart. But like insurance and gas, there's nothing you do about
yeah.
that.
A
I
lot.
mean, you can raw dog it and hope for the best, but like that's not good.
Yeah, well, and I make these arguments with people in my area a lot. Not like arguments, but like I bring it up. They're like, we don't have a good system of getting you from point A to point B in a rural zone. My hometown, if you don't have a car, you ain't leaving. Like
You're
it's
screwed.
all they don't have a sidewalk or they're really narrow. They go over bridges.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. You
And
can't
so like
even get on a bike or anything. Yeah.
yeah, and so like we're obviously improving into a time period where like the electric bike is like really starting to take off, right? And
It's awesome. Yeah.
so we have the option if we could just establish like an asphalt path next to it doesn't have to be a
Right.
sidewalk, like just another part, 3 more feet
Yeah.
on the side of the road and pave it and let us have a space where people can walk, even if it's miles to a space,
Right.
to like a location, to a
Right.
gas station, to Dollar General. It's very
Right.
interesting. Again, it's not gonna be every back road, but like it needs to be the majority of walking distances.
Yeah.
Again, we just spent a bunch of
Well, and that's something that like the entire United States
oh,
needs, right?
so bad
Like we're
public
battling it
engagement
out in New
there.
York City for bike lanes and
Yeah,
I ride a bike in the city a lot and the amount of times that like I've almost gotten
sure.
killed by cars,
Yeah,
you just pull over and stop in the bike lane. I'm like, this is you can't park here.
yeah,
I think the asphalt, like paved paths near any sort of major roadway across the United States would be like literally, I think it would be a game changer for
yeah,
so many people. And to me, it feels like a job creator. It
yeah.
feels like it's not that expensive and it feels like everybody would be happy with it.
We're already there a lot of the times with the machinery
Right.
to install that or to widen roads or to deal with that kind of engagement. So it is weird that we just don't take a consideration for literally the most marginalized parts of our community, which is like our walking
Yeah.
community, right? Like
Right.
our movement. Like we have a lot of people in wheelchairs,
Same.
motorized wheelchairs
Yeah.
that may not be miles that they're traveling down the road, but like if they could get a half mile to the gas station, it increases the space in which those people can live. Because a lot of those people don't have a choice of living out in like a more rural
Yeah.
space. Because going from here down the road, even just a little bit, is just off limits, And so
Yeah.
it's just an accommodation thing. And like someone was like, well, it's not going to make any money. And I'm like, was it supposed to make money? Like
Do
I didn't
are the
think that.
roads supposed to be making money? They don't
Yeah,
make the roads don't make money, but like
no,
we need them to get places so people can make money and the economy
yeah,
can grow and like people can live a life that they enjoy.
Yeah, and imagine in like rural areas, it goes years and years and years without having to like repave. Imagine like
Right.
a walking lane, like it's never going to get repaved. It
It'd
will
be
be
like 20
fine.
years.
It'll be
Yeah.
fine
Yeah.
forever. Yeah, it's just literally
Yeah.
the commodity. We had so the Build Back Better plan sent us some money right a couple of years ago, and we just finished the bridge. It was like 2.5 years to build the bridges, but we redid some bridges because they were really too tiny, right, in the weight class and all that kind of stuff. So they redid it. They did not put a walking path anywhere on that space. They just widened it like 2 feet and made it better. You know what I mean? It's
You're
safer
like,
for cars.
great,
But I'm like,
great.
you're
But
not thinking,
what?
yeah,
Yeah.
like
You're there.
like
You're fucking there.
my town is like the title is like Kentucky Lakes downtown, and there's no walking path to Kentucky Lake. There's no like
Right.
signs that are like ramp this way, you know, and it's like,
Yeah.
what are we trying to do here, you know? And so yeah, it's interesting the level
Yeah.
of forethought that we have into like what we're wanting our future to be, you know what I mean? And like what we're wanting to promote. Yeah, and then people feel
Right.
left out.
Well, and
Like,
and this is like another thing that I think having a more diverse group of people in Congress matters,
yeah,
because when you have people who have only worked in government, whether they were working on the Hill and then became a politician themselves, or just like they don't know. They can
yeah,
have 18 different urban planning degrees, but if they've never lived in a rural place that has no sidewalks, that has no buses, that has nothing
yeah,
except for cars and like 2 Ubers and maybe 1 cab
yeah,
driver, then they don't know. Because frankly, I wouldn't have thought of this,
yeah,
right? Like I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Public transit, not great, but sidewalks were there
yeah,
for the most part because it's a newer city, even though it's
sure.
like really
It's
like
small, but
argument number one.
yeah,
It's not even, but it's not small. It's fucking huge. It's a little thing that would have such a big payback. And that's the thing that irks me the most, is that we don't do it.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
like, you're like, oh, I'm sorry. What is that? Like 1 drop of sweat off of our back that could help like thousands of people in this town, hundreds of thousands here. Like if
yeah,
we added up over the state, it's like, wow, you know,
yeah, yeah. No,
you just got to
again,
rant. You
starting
got to
in
rant
spots
from
and
me. I'm
no,
sorry.
that's fine. Yeah, I love that. You know what I mean? It's an interesting thing. I was at 5 Juneteenth events this week, right? Trying to like
Yeah.
meet people where they're at and try to get in front of things.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because when you bring it up, you have stories, concerns, conversations that you'd like to say, they're like, can't really think of anything. I was like, well, would you like for me to ramble for a little bit? Because I can.
And
And they're like,
see if we
yeah.
can
And so I started talking, and about 30 seconds in, they're like, oh, issues. I got it.
that one.
People just
Yeah.
aren't motivated or to like think about like how they're going to change their community or be an effect in their community. We're just taught to exist inside of like the parameters and not like it, right?
I was had to
And
say, that's it. It's not it's literally just that we're supposed to take what we're given
yeah,
and we're supposed to like it.
yeah,
And that's it. And be grateful for it. And you're like, but it's not working. And then people are like, so you're upset. So you hate what do you have? And you're like, no, it's just not working.
yeah, yeah. Well, and some people talk about like, you know, you gotta live within your means and you gotta be like trying to advance. But like if we look at the 60s and
Of
70s and the
course.
80s of like
Sure.
economic development, people could work seemingly mundane jobs and have at least, which we don't have, and
Right.
options and availabilities for both like training, education, and upward mobility. And we don't have that now, and we also don't feel that way about those jobs, right? A lot of people are like, oh, well, baristas shouldn't be making a living wage. And it's like, yeah, but you want your coffee. And that's obviously a beat over horse. You know what I mean? Like people, we've been talking about that for years. It's interesting to see like and showcase the spaces in which we're like, these are reputable jobs. They're good jobs. You know what I mean? Like now we're just now getting into where like layman construction people are starting to be considered like good jobs. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I mean, don't get me started on good jobs.
yeah,
I like a job is a job is
Yeah.
a job is a fucking job. It's a job. It's a job. Nothing like
yeah,
barring you literally being someone that like maybe you're the person literally dropping the bombs on Iran. Maybe that'll keep you up at night. Maybe that's
Yeah.
it. Maybe you're a mob boss's like hit guy.
yeah,
That's probably not a good job. But aside from that, I'm like, this morality conversation around work,
hmm
it kills me.
Well,
Because like you're right, we need our coffees, we need our McDonald's, we need all these things, and we
Yeah.
need people to provide them for us. But why can't we make sure they're provided for so they can keep providing us our stuff?
Well, and it's even if you look at like, and I always tell this to people because like we really are hitting these highlights now where it's like entertainment systems, right? Where like artists and musicians are not making adequate pay because of the way like or Ticketmaster or
Right.
AI generation is like now taking over some of these conversations. And so
Mhm.
it's interesting that like we as a society, the richest country on earth, both obviously we have our hardline issues where like we're not taking care of our unhoused individuals, we're not taking care of our people who actually need services, but we're also not taking care of people who want to do the job of like being our dreamers and our poets and our philosophers and like the people who like
Yeah.
experience life for all of us so that we can see it. Some of us are just in the rat race and they don't have to make
Right.
exponential amounts of money, but it is shocking to me how little we care about the people that are supposed to bring us the
And like
reason
the
why we're
culture.
alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
why we have culture. And you're like, oh, well, that doesn't deserve to
Mhm.
get paid. And I'm like, but you enjoy
Which
it. Like, what I mean? And I get like,
again, you want to consume it
yeah, you want to
and you
consume it.
don't want to support these people at all. And
Very
I
interesting.
mean, it's well, and now obviously the newest version of that is like content creation,
Mhm.
and people are like, oh, I like this person makes me laugh so much, and I'm like, oh, they have a Venmo in there. Did you like send them $5,
Yeah,
$10,
ever, like just
ever,
once, like
ever?
it's,
You've sent me 25 of this person's videos in the last month. Send them $5.
yeah,
Just I just it's the same conversation we're having, and
yeah,
also like even I mean I've been reading a lot about activism in the '60s
hmm
and how the folks that survived and are still alive who are talking about it. They're like, you don't understand. I mean, we were paying. We had basically more or less just a place for people to crash. Someone was working a job that could bring in
yeah,
$400 a month, and all of a sudden we could all be activists for the whole month, and then we would take 2 or 3 days and do some gig work or whatever they had back then,
yeah,
whatever it was, like stand up and hold the sign for the construction workers,
yeah.
and then we could go be activists for the month. And I was like, yeah, there's like not.
No, it's interesting. I guess, and that's where a lot of that tied over to what we see today, where a lot of people who are
Yeah,
anti like activism think that they're like paid protesters, in the sense that like
yeah,
people used to
right. They're
collectivize.
like, how could you possibly
How could
have
you
money to do that?
possibly have money? And the thing is we don't, right? Like when
No.
like I've done human rights advocacy and environmental advocacy since like
Yes.
2012. As an adult, like it's interesting to see like how much money I've lost doing
Oh
those
yeah,
things, like thousands of dollars. Like I run my town fair of Tater Day, and one year we were out $2,000, $3,000. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and then the wedding, like last year it was Easter, and no one wanted to show up,
right.
and this year it flooded like 16 inches the week of, and all the vendors didn't show up. So like I'm just eating costs, like just to be
Right. But you're
because
like, this is
this
something
is what
that
we
the
want to
community.
do. Yeah.
I need you to explain Tater Day.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so Tater Day is the longest running continuous trade day in the United States. It's a few years old, so obviously it's got a history and probably a sordid history at that.
Yes.
And so it's a community-based event, so it's not ran by the city. It's just was Denton, but it's ran like by the community. It's just like the city obviously does like police and trash pickup and a little bit of like the
Right.
advertising coordination. Um, and so it's just a small fair or whatever. But over the last 30, 40 years, it's kind of contracted in like its community engagement, which is kind of a really good
Sure.
indicator of how rural communities have been like kind of faltering and collapsing in on themselves.
Hmm.
And so people like the whole time I was growing up, right? Like when I was very young, like it was still kind of okay. But then from then on, it like everybody just bagged on it. Like it was bad. It had, Confederate flags and weed flags and, political attack ad flags and
You're just
shirts
like,
and
how
stuff.
did we all get here
Well,
together? How did it's all the
and
same?
again, like it's had its own history and whatnot, but like it's just been weird how like the level of small townedness, like the nostalgia
Yeah.
stuff, like the things that they did advertise on the front end that were good, we just weren't doing, like the horse shows, the pageant is like the week before now, and they just do the
Yeah.
parade stuff in it. They had all these arts and crafts stuff and knife swapping and like trade day. There was no trade day anymore. It was just
That's
like,
cool.
yeah, but there was like no trade day anymore. There was no this, that, and the other.
Okay, so this is a dumb question.
Yeah.
That's what trade day means. It means you're trading.
Yeah. It's more
I
like
thought it
swap
meant like a
meets.
trade. I thought it was more like a electrician trade.
Oh, no, no, no. Yeah. Like knife swapping, right? Like, or,
That's actually really
and some
cool.
people are obviously you could buy it, right? But like
Right.
people would also go over to different items and be like, oh, we want to swap items, originally.
That's so cool.
And again, it's a nice bartering system and things, especially in these times and days. It definitely has more influence than it should. We should be getting back into that. And so, like, me and my wife about 6 years ago started like taking it over and kind of doing things because it had fallen into such disrepair that other than the kind of businesses that were hosting vendors and the carnival that came in, there wasn't much else but the parade, right? And so, like, there wasn't any
Right.
kind of activities, no community service operations were
Right.
happening. We weren't donating any money anywhere for the most part. And so we came in and tried to do like the social media. We made it more, again, as a community advocate, I don't push people out of spaces. So like the stuff that had already been
Right.
happening, that was a little bit more sorted. He's still on one side of town, and we operate now, around the court square, and we bring in
Right.
spaces that are, family friendly and don't have any kind of, gratuitous or, overt themes. Again, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm pro marijuana legalization, but like, we don't need it on a shirt in front of a 4-year-old. Like, I'm cool. I'm
Right.
cool
Right.
with that. It's all about
Like, just,
saying. And so a lot of people in our community had thought that like it was a city sponsored event. And so they've been
yeah.
like, they get on our Facebook every year and they're like, oh, like the city's doing like a bad job at this. And I'm like, it's a community sponsored event. So when it's not doing well, it showcases that our community is not doing well. And so,
And you're not out there.
in a nice way, right? When I'm
Right.
asking people to join and take a step
Right.
towards that kind of activism, that's where people have to start moving. So we've had, again,
Yeah.
we donate money to Animal Shelters Humane Society. We get pets adopted. We've added like 15 new events. We try new
Right.
things every year. We've added more and more volunteers. And it's just like, it'd be crazy to see what would happen if we had like 40 people who were this active in like these events.
Instead of like 10.
Instead
right.
of 10 or 4, yeah. I mean, it's
Right.
really interesting how much like small amounts of participation are propping up like large systems of organization. Like, I'm usually
Yeah.
the youngest person in all of my civic organizations, and like that's not good.
Wow.
I'm in my 30s, so we need people who have that kind of goal mindedness, but we've really like beat that out of, I think, our younger generations. Like
Yeah.
I was in 3rd grade during 9/11, right? So like I still had the you can be whatever you want like drilled into me when I was a kid, but I think ever since then it's just been the world was on
It's tough.
fire. Everything's bad. Politics sucks. Nobody's friends.
Yeah.
And it's just a weird place for kids to grow up, and you don't think that they're here, but they're hearing it all
Of
the
course
time.
they are.
Mhm.
Oh, the kids are so much smarter than
They're
we
so-
think they are. It drives me insane when people are like, oh, like kids don't know what's going on. I'm like, yeah, they fucking do. I was like, you knew what was going on when you were a kid. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah, you think that your children are that much different.
I mean, like,
Yeah,
like-
I'm like, no, they know exactly what's happening and they're soft because they're like heartbroken.
Yeah.
You
I have
broke their hearts.
my son will be 5 in August,
Oh.
and he is really astute to like what's said and whatnot, and like it's just really interesting. Like, we pay for him to. I've been paying for him to go to daycare since 18 months, and
Right.
and like in like in like a Montessori style school, and like trying to get him
Oh,
to
that's
like
cool.
the social integration in spaces. But even for like a rural area, it started at like 175, and this summer or for the week.
For the week.
For the week, yeah. And now it's 215. So over 3 years, all the bill
So
back
like almost $1,000 for the month.
for the month, yeah. And like I started a new business, like doing the same thing I was doing. I built boat docks, but me and my
Right.
brother started subcontracting to try to make more direct pay, and I made like
Right, you're like-
$13,000 last year.
Right, because that's what happens when
Because
you
I
start
started
a
a
business.
business, yeah. And so all that went
The
to
first year.
all I went to childcare. Not saying I wouldn't have sent it to childcare if I was just like, you had one parent at home and one parent out. That's fine too. But like, it's just crazy how much like somebody can
Yeah.
work the whole time for their kids just to go to daycare. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's just
Yeah.
like, of course you feel behind. Like, of course you feel like nobody's
Right.
like working for you, because like,
Yeah.
other countries literally have spaces where it's open to the public daycare, and you gotta stay, but like people watch your kids, you know what I mean? And like you get a chance
Right.
to like breathe at least, you know what I mean? Like outside of
Right,
space, and it just doesn't feel like we take any
Right.
integrations. I mean, we're just now moving, and Kentucky is just trying to move towards universal pre-K. So, but we still have
Good start.
Yeah, it's a great
Nothing-
start.
I mean,
That's what I mean.
4
Yeah,
years now.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you still have the 1 year to 3 year olds that,
Yeah.
is kind of the highest time period of engagement, like
Right.
individual to
You need to have
individual.
one-on-one chats with the kids during that time. That's
Yeah.
when everything happens.
Well,
Their brains are just,
and those kids also, like when you're in like the daycare settings, like they have a lower number of kids to like
right.
older kids, like 4, 5, and 6 year olds, because you can manage 4, 5, and 6 year olds at a higher number than you
Well, and
can
they
2 year olds.
understand
Yeah,
direction,
yeah, the other
and
ones are
they're like,
screaming.
right. And
Yeah.
but like, and the little ones need that one-on-one
Oh yeah.
time, whether it's with a parent or, I mean,
Hmm.
and it's great that they can get it with other little kids too. Like
Yeah.
that's like perfect. And
Yeah.
I've had this conversation 1 million times with so many people where I'm just like, they want us to have more kids, and yet, like, the government literally has said this numerous times. They're like, you guys aren't having kids. Like, why aren't you having kids? And I'm like, childcare,
Yeah.
healthcare,
Yeah.
guns in schools specifically. I'm not a huge, like, we need to take all the guns away, but we can't have guns. Like, a gun cannot get into schools.
Yeah.
That is I'm like, I think every fucking person can agree that there should not be a gun in school.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, and by the way, as a woman, what, 12, 15 grand to just go to the hospital to have a baby?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, I think we have to take a better look at like parental paid leave. In a block, like the thing I advocate for is having like 2 year leave for the group of parents, or if you're a single parent,
Right.
you get all 2 years or whatever, but you can use it over 6 years. Right. So like
Yeah.
use it when you need it. Like you make it,
Right.
you want to start going to your, or
Something. I mean,
even if that's just $50, $60 a day, you're right. Like that's like
yeah,
we're guaranteeing, like it doesn't have to be an end all be all, but like if you're just sitting at home, that is a decent amount of like catch up money.
it's
You know what I
amazing.
mean? Like
Yeah.
comparatively to zero, like and imagine like
Of course.
the doctor's visits. You got your kids T-ball. You know, what I mean, there's only like three.
Right.
We had like 3 games last year. You know what I mean? You had to show barely any. You know what I mean, to
Right.
play. So like you can take off those days
Let's
if
not
they match
let's
up.
not miss them.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
not miss
let's not
them.
miss them.
And so like
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
I like that idea. I haven't heard that idea yet.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
We just got to be more flexible in the way that we're trying to approach it.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about 2 years of days off at $50 a piece is like $36,000. You know what I mean?
Right.
But which, I mean,
Yeah.
again, like when you hear that though,
It's-
people think it's a lot of, but it's not a lot of
But
money
it's-
individually,
Go to a
individual day.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's like, well, so it's 2 fucking years. It's nothing actually
Yeah.
when you think about 2 full years and I would argue for more
Oh,
money.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
understand what you would need to get it done
Yeah.
across the country. But like I think I was actually, again, just with a friend, and she's about to go on maternity leave, and she lives in Massachusetts. Best maternity leave, I think,
Yeah.
in the country. And because she's not using all of her state allotted time, she's able to do that flexibility where she basically will use daycare for a couple days a week, and then
Yeah.
she'll be able to take a day off
Yeah.
a week to be with her child during the early months, like pretty much every week for a while.
Yeah.
Because she's really not, I mean, obviously things could possibly change, whatever,
Sure.
but like that's her plan. And
Yeah.
I was like, I think that's exactly what you're talking about. It's like flexibility when needed, and like we're all adults. We can figure out how to,
Yeah.
we don't have to be 100% available all the time to all of our employers every single moment of every single day.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy too, because like we look at what other countries do as well in terms of like providing the direct assistance for like child like item needs, right? Like developmental
Yeah.
tools, diapers, formula, stuff like that. Like raising a child is the most expensive right out of the gate, where they can't
course.
control their bowels. You know what I mean? Like
Right. You're like,
that's when it's
formula.
expensive. Yeah.
it'd be like every single thing, and it's just every day, all the time. And like,
Yeah.
and then of course, like mom needs stuff too,
Yeah.
because she's still recovering, and like
Yeah. So,
dad should probably be able to take time off, because most of the time mom's not supposed to be lifting up a baby.
yeah.
And having this conversation, they're like, hey, good job. You did a great D-section. Now don't go pick up your baby because you could pop your stitches.
Well, and going back to that parental leave, if it was 2 years of
Yeah.
parental leave and you and the spouse,
Your
right, the birth parent and the
parents,
spouse,
yeah.
both chose to take it on the same day. So like those first 6 weeks, maybe it's 12 weeks
Right.
total of use, but we're getting $100 a day. to exist.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you're offsetting both the cost of the childcare stuff currently. Like if we're not implying these other changes, like you're offsetting those childcare costs, like
It's
of the
perfect.
items, but then you're having the time home if you need to use it for that. And then, but if the birth parent's like, oh, I feel better, I can do all these things, but I'm just gonna stay home. They're like,
Right.
oh, I'm gonna go back to work. Like, and that
Right.
you take it
But
when you.
it's just, it is,
It's
it's
weird.
more, I think it's just more changing the mentality
Yeah.
around the way that we work in the United States, because it is a badge of honor to be obscenely busy. And like, I mean, I
Yeah.
live in New York.
Yeah.
I've had people say to me directly, look me dead in the eyes, like with pride, to say I never see my children. And I'm like, okay, like
Yeah.
therapy's going to cost a lot and
Yeah.
you're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. I mean, I've like been in close
Sure.
contact with them and like backed out of the room being like, oh, so you're crazy.
Yeah. We have like WIC and other things that help like newborn needs, right? But like
Yes.
those things where they should have as an availability is like the statutated lowest, like let's say like the cheapest diaper or whatever is this amount of things. You'd be able to buy those, the cheapest amount, all the way for 2 years. Like, so we're gonna establish that. But if you
Figure it
want, if
out.
you
Yeah.
want to choose, and because you're a more wealthy individual, to buy the higher end, that works as a discount on each purchase, right?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
like
It's
why are we
also,
not
it's
taking
the
$10
same,
off? Like,
it's the same way your value card at the grocery works. If you like, at least some of them, you
Yeah.
don't have to do the buy, get one free. You don't have to get all of them. You just get half off the
Yeah.
one, something like
we can come
everyone
up
else
with.
seems to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, and like you want like we need to help with effective car seat and crib buying.
Yes.
Right.
Oh
Like
my God.
those need to
Yeah.
happen. But if you would like to buy over the base form, that's just a
Right.
credit, right? Like it's just like
Then it's a discount. Yeah.
yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
discount
But
of what the cheapest one was going to be to
everyone
this.
gets $600 for it, or I have no idea. I don't think
Right.
it's
Right.
$1,600.
No, they're not that expensive. Yeah. But that's what I meant. Like if it's
Okay. I was like, I don't know.
if a car seat, like the cheapest car seat could be $40, right? And the most
What?
yeah, it could be real cheap, right? Like we could say that. And then a more expensive car seat, right, might be $130. Well, if you can take that $40 gift card, technically,
Right,
and
and just drop
apply
it.
it to the more expensive
Yeah.
one, you can buy the expensive one. You know what I mean? And so like you can choose to
Oh,
not have to
exactly.
pay
Yes,
anything
yes,
for it
yes.
at all, or you can choose to upgrade at your expense
Right.
and offset the cost. So everyone benefits from that system. Even people who have money are going to be
Yes,
able to
but
get the $40 off. You know what I mean? Because
how do we convince people that everyone benefiting is good?
and that's a really funny thing, isn't it? Though, because we see it every day in our communities with like the level of
Yeah.
like isolationism that we're kind of like self-imposing,
Yeah.
right? We like us and like we have more in common in friendships and kinships with people on the internet, millions of miles away, than we do
Right.
with our neighbors. And
Right.
that is just showcasing that like we need to have at least a slight improvement to community engagement and systems, and like the way we care for each
Right.
other uplifts others. And like
Crazy how that works out.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, because like every dollar that we spend in early childhood intervention creates saves $7 later, right? So like if we're going to talk about reducing the debt, we're going to need to talk about making sure
Right.
that like and we've been looking at like the new bill cuts and stuff like that, which are going to have effects on state cuts. And like I was talking to one of the
Right.
youth crisis centers here that deal with like 13 to 18-year-old kids between from 3 to 6 in the afternoon. They're not even open that long, and they're doing a
Right.
good work for like kids in a space where like it's technically more rural. It's probably 20,000 people in that town, and we're losing $100,000 in funding. You know what I mean? Like, which is like 2 employees here and 2 places are getting shut down. We're like, you realize that like
That drives me
the
insane.
long-term cost of that program is cheaper than what you're about to do to the kids because of the lack of economic development, the lack of like they're not even going to be as good
And
of
it's like-
producers. Like they won't even be as
Right,
good of
right.
workers, which is what you want. Like
Right. Well, and it's a play, it's like this conversation comes up a lot. Something I haven't talked with a lot of people about though is like our country's lack of foresight.
mhm,
Like
yeah, we're good.
we
at
don't like to play. We want short-term fixes.
that. Mhm.
We don't like, because like you said, it's with the early childhood development, obviously with teenagers. Also like if we put some money into our education system and we gave kids the opportunity to get involved in the trades and like really try some things out and find something they love and like they could be really starting their own business by the time they're 18 or 20, coming out of high school, not having to go to college and not having to do the, like, you know, like,
well,
what do we
what the
fuck are we doing? We talk about this for hours.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting because like my wife's a 7th grade history teacher. And so she works in public education. And it's interesting to see like how much we need to move to like a growth-based model.
Yeah.
Like where we're looking at each individual kid year over year and not looking at like them compared to themselves against like the standardized test, because like we see that like system doesn't create a level of engagement. Some kids aren't going to be the best at math. Did they get through freshman level math? Okay, great. Like, you know, they want to be an engineer or an artist or a
do they have to go onto the Calc 2 track if they actually want to produce music?
Most construction workers that I work with, right, do not know or have dealt with any of those math, and they are really good at the math for the job that they have. They don't have to be,
because they've been trained on it.
Yeah, they've been trained on it specifically. On job.
Yeah.
What we're missing a lot of is like the critical thinking development, like like what you said, like the logistical and like long-term foresight development.
Yes.
Like we need to utilize school systems as a process of brain wrinkle development, not like actually learning the item in task. Like again, like I have a history degree from Murray, and my wife has a master's in Greek and Latin.
I was about to say,
and I will tell you how unimportant it is to know the exact date of something. Like
you need to know the themes. We need themes because
we learn. So many people in America are like they know all the historical figures and like the spaces of where a war was and like what kind of like military weapons they were using at the time.
You're but why? Why did we go?
Why did we go?
Why?
What were the effects on the people? How did culture and systems change? Like what things were
and what
lost?
Does it mean for us today?
Yeah, and that's or like
That's a George W.
Yeah.
That's a No Child Left Behind. I'm sure your
it's
wife does not love No Child Left Behind, but especially as a history teacher. But
it's very interesting because we end up in a lot of spaces where we don't have the capacity to like see things through a bunch of different lenses. You know what I mean? Like it's weird that like we have math class, but we don't have like a logic class, because math class would be a great logic class. And then you imply some other actions into it. So kids who don't like the math still have a way to succeed in the class. You know, like, because I loved it. Like,
so that was me. That was me. I was like, they were like, this is just math. And I was like, no, it doesn't make, like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
What do you mean? And they're like, just do this. And I was like, just do what? Well, like, and some kids are like, I just did that. It's perfect. And I was like, I just did that. And I got like X equals Y, which is not right. But I don't know
what they should do a lot more of alongside of those things are like the matching conversations, as well as like, have you ever done the things where it's like a bunch of blocks and it's like, Susie, this one has red shoes and this one has blue shoes and this person's this tall, and you have to match like the shoes or so like logic, like I took the gifted and talented class all through middle school, and like a lot of things we did were like that, just like logic puzzles of like, these people are standing in line and like, can you tell what age they are by the descriptions over here, and like trying to figure out those kinds of things. And they're not important for what they're doing, but they're creating these pathways in which you're trying to move things around in your brain to create like a system. And we don't do enough of that, which is really the core of like what people were like, oh, Common Core math doesn't work. And it's like, they're trying to get these kids to understand how to put dots in their brain. That's why we're putting it on paper.
And they don't have the capacity to do it.
And when we did the calculus,
they can't do it there.
In nuclear physics, they're like, I'm too slow because I didn't train those pathways. And like, it's not about like, oh, will I ever use this? You know what I mean? Like,
no,
like that's such
it's
But if we did
the critical thinking thing is huge.
But if we didn't do a growth-based model of education, then we could care about like financial literacy and like opening banks and like doing all the like filing taxes and understanding how that works, because that's part of growth, right? Instead of part of like this test taking mentality that we have.
We have a checklist.
Yeah,
it's a checklist.
Because like, even if you're not good at music, if we could see over the course of 10 years that you got better at music, you know what I mean? Like, that's a plus to you. And like, you should think, oh, I did well.
And it's going to make you a little bit more well-rounded.
Which is all we're building. You know what I mean? Like most people in jobs, like it's interesting because because jobs are so much now,
Right.
like you get trained on space. Like,
Yeah.
it's more about, do you have the interpersonal skills to like be an enjoyable person to work around?
Yeah.
Or can you like
So,
handle like a bunch of different tasks or learning new things? And like all of that
right.
is what we're kind of negating in order to beat these tests. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and
Right.
it's
Right.
such a bad precedent. And we're seeing that. Like, I mean,
Well, and we've now seen 20 years of it.
yeah,
Like, because I mean, I get closer to 25. I
yeah.
guess I'm thinking, like, in my mind, Metro Left Behind was like 01, 02, and
Mhm.
probably got really rolled out 05 to
Yeah.
10. But I hate to do this because we're
You're
on a
good. Keep
roll,
going.
but we're coming up to the end of time.
Yeah.
And I want to squeeze in our
Go for
last,
it.
we end with a bunch of different random questions. But first, could you tell people where to follow your campaign and where to follow you? I really
Sure.
enjoyed this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
No, you're
feel like
great.
I
Um,
just I don't have the capacity to edit more than an hour long
I understand.
episodes. Yeah.
My website is williamsforky.com. So williamsforky.com. My TikTok is at williamsforky1. My Facebook is also Williams for KY. It's Drew Williams for US House. I'm just really appreciative of everything that you're doing
Yeah.
here and all the work that we're seeing on the ground. I think that,
I'm so excited.
yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Again, if it was up to money, it's already kind of shot. Like, Comer raised
Yeah.
$7.9 million last year, and he's already raised like $500,000 this year for this upcoming.
7.9 million.
Yeah, that's 2.1 or 3 times more than the average.
Right.
Yeah,
I know
so
it's like
it's
that, but I
crazy.
mean, it's
Yeah,
these
it's staggering.
these district races,
Yeah.
the House of Representatives, they've gotten absolutely insane bonkers
Well,
in terms of the amount of money being raised. Yeah,
well, and there's been no. I mean, not saying like people haven't read, but like
but not real. I mean, I was looking at the numbers.
the
It's like,
numbers are like, why is
he's
anybody even
winning like
donating?
80%, 75 to 80%. Yeah,
Who's even donating? So I think it's a big point to talk
yeah,
about. I don't want to ever disrespect somebody's humanity. We can talk about votes and we can talk about
yeah.
campaign financing. You know what I mean? And so like, I think those are fair things
Right.
to get engaged with. I'm running a community focused campaign, people first.
Totally.
And so like, I think if everybody convinces 10 people, I think it's something for everybody to note that's listening. Put 10 people up on your fridge and you work on those 10 people. Even it can be across the
Something's
country.
gonna happen.
You know what I mean? But
Something's
like,
gonna happen.
work on 10 people that trust you to have these
Yeah.
conversations, and that's your goal. And if that's all you get done all year, like to December, we're on a good track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
amazing.
mhm.
Okay, well, we're doing these.
Go for it.
These are new. We've changed them because now, if you've been listening to the podcast, the old ones have come out. So you're the first round with this one. So, are you more of a morning person or a night person?
Morning.
Okay. Are you a planner or are you more like spontaneous?
I plan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. We need that um if you had a superpower, would you prefer to be able to fly or be invisible?
I'd like to fly because I would really like to get to all of my events a lot faster. And I don't have AC in my car, so the wind would
You
be
don't
way
have
better.
AC, right?
No, so we had two
No.
cars. Me and my wife have 2 cars, like whatever, but only one
Yeah.
of them has AC. And so when I go to a lot of events, I'm gone all day. So
I
no AC.
If you guys have been paying attention during this video recording, I've been wiping the sweat off of my body. I have AC, but it's not working because
Yeah.
it's over 100 degrees in New York.
Yeah.
And
It's
I'm
like
like
110 right here.
dripping.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Ours like feels like 105.
Gross. Yeah.
Okay. Are you more a caller or a texter?
Text.
Text. Okay. Cat or dogs?
Cats.
What's your favorite movie of all time? I know.
Goodness.
It's hard.
Um.
You can pick one.
Okay. That's hilarious. It's not so much that. I'm just so much more of a TV show kind of person.
Okay, then
That
give me your favorite TV show. How
One
about that?
Piece.
That'll work.
The anime. One Piece. So
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one yet.
yeah.
What's the last book that you read?
I read. Oh, I can't remember the name, but it was on emotional leadership.
Oh, that's
Yes.
cool.
My wife is taking she's getting her doctorate in educational leadership, and so I
Hell yeah.
I read all the books that she gets because like they're they're quick enough, and
They're
she needs,
good. I
she
mean,
needs
they're
somebody to argue
good.
with about them or come up with
Yeah.
topics. And so, yeah, she's like, check this for me. I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, I'll read all of this. Cause she's been doing the same classes for like 2 years or whatever. And she's like,
Yeah.
they all feel the same. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm just reading the book. It feels great. Like, I was like, and just, I can get through this in a day or two. Yeah.
Like, this is fun.
This is
Yeah. And she's
fun.
like, no,
I need this.
she's like, we're still talking about it. She's like, we're beating a dead horse at this
Well,
point.
it's leadership, right? Or admin leadership. And so it's just like, what's a leader? What's a leader? What's a leader? Like, ish.
It's the same thing. It's still the check boxes. And my mom has her PhD in curriculum and instruction. And so she deals with a lot of people that have come out of that educational leadership program. And you can tell the ones who have taught before and the ones who went straight through and got their PhD, you know?
Yeah.
She's like, great to have you here.
Yeah.
Obviously the ones that have taught really like, they get it, you know? And that's probably why she's like,
yeah, like
we don't have to talk about your wife on that.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Okay. And then last question. What is your favorite thing about your district?
Really just the environment. I work on Kentucky Lake and Lake Barkley, and it surrounds the land between the lakes, which is a national park. So like I've consistently just grown up in a space that feels like it should be more famous and more looked at and more cared for than it is. Yeah. Hey, it's just so naturally already beautiful. And it's talking about like getting rid of our parks and selling off our public lands and stuff like that for, to make some money. It's just such a weird and like detrimental long-term foresight. We're going to be spending all this time buying them back. I promise you. Like,
so silly.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
So.
Oh man. Well, thank you so much, guys. As a reminder, this is Drew Williams for Kentucky, running for the U.S. Congressional District #1 in Kentucky, and you can find him at Williams for Kentucky for KY. So WilliamsForKY.com. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you've made it this far, thank you so much. Thank you for following The Foolish Optimist. You can follow us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, pretty much. We're going to be dropping new episodes every Wednesday, and you can watch the video episodes on YouTube. If you would like to, please give us a review, leave comments. You can also email us at thefoolishoptimistpodcast@gmail.com. If you see any really great candidates that I should be talking to, send them my way. Thank you.